Good evening, Tiger fans. Welcome to a just random ad hoc midweek catch-up with the Tigercast on YouTube. Hope you're all doing very, very well from wherever you are around the world. I don't often do just random one-off shows, but I thought there's a few little bits and pieces that have come out that are worth talking about today. And we're going to play some games after as well. We might watch the Adamuze press conference and, of course, answer any of your questions that you might have in chat about the Tigers or football or whatever. I don't know, might be something we do on the regular. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if it's enjoyable or not. I'm mindful that we obviously had the Monday night live, the live last night with Tig, so it's a lot to take in, but sometimes it's good just to have a chill night and just debrief and just have a casual chat amongst friends. So I thought we'll give it a crack. We'll give it a crack and see how we go. Full disclosure, not on StreamYard tonight. I am using OBS, so even though I can read all of your comments and I'll obviously answer your questions and comments as best I can, I won't be able to pull them up onto the screen for everyone to see like usual. So that's why that's not happening. But Hayden, going well, thanks, mate. And yourself, Rock and Reload, exciting, welcome. Crispy, welcome. Or no, Crispy, but spelt with, as in Chris. I like that. I appreciate the kind words. Don't do it again. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a interesting one, Chris, because I can definitely understand why there might be, oh God, not again. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I just thought a bit more of a chilled out one, less structured, more just random, whatever questions you guys have got. The other reason why I like doing these types of random pop-up ones is I am always forever mindful that on the Monday night and the Tuesday night show, as much as we'd love to try and answer as many viewer questions as possible, there's still like so much to get through on the rundown that we often miss quite a few questions. So I still want to give you all the time and the chance to ask questions that can be answered as well and form part of a discussion. So I think it's important. It's important, and that's why I want to make sure that, you know, the whole floor is all of yours tonight to ask away. So that's why we try and do it. Jungle Talk, when I saw the word Lafau first in your question. I thought it was going to be a LeFou comment about Tiggs, and I was already giggling on the inside. We'll start with some questions. Let's go for it. Is there a chance we play Fawcett and Lafau? I personally don't think so. I think that they'll go. I think it'll be 3 changes, 2 forced, obviously, with Mansell and Jonty Fall missing, and I think the 3rd change will be Campbell Gray. I think they're going to heavily favour Lafau because he was virtually earmarked for that role before he made some bad choices off the field, of course. So I think if we went Fawcett as well, it might feel too tall. If we go Lafau, I would hope that we play him on the ground a bit more than what we did for Campbell Gray. It's a bit of an awkward position, isn't it? I mean, and it's not Campbell's Gray fault. I thought he did well when he was on the ground, but it's just trying to work out how we best use that 5th spot on interchange. Do you use a ruckman like we tried with Campbell Gray? Do you use an impact high octane runner? I'm sure there's going to be a lot of variations we see of this throughout the year. But yeah, it's a real tricky one. Connor Sarge, how are you, mate? Thoughts on utilising Mac Andrews' temperament to get a few cheap shots on goal? 110%, Sarge, 110%. I mean, teams do it to us, right? Teams rile up Tom Lynch successfully too often, and they get some easy free kicks that they probably shouldn't have had. Mac Andrew, I think, has a far worse temper than anyone on our list, and I would absolutely be getting under his skin. And we already know that Tom Lynch and Sam Collins have a bit of a checkered past with each other, but I would definitely be playing on the Mac Andrew piece. The only thing is with that, there is the chance it backfires and that he elevates to another level and shits on us. Because he can go forward and kick goals too. So that's the risk you run. I guess what's the trade-off? Do you try and throw him off his game and maybe it rattles him? I think you take the punt. I mean, what have you got to lose? I think you've got to try things like that. So we'll see how. What does everyone else think? Would everyone else try and rattle the cage of Mac Andrew? Let us know in the comments. I most definitely would be. Most definitely. Rock and roll reload. Put Morris on Petrarca. Wouldn't be the worst idea. We're going to have to put some serious bloody players into Petrarca. He is having an unbelievable start to the year. And credit to him. I didn't think he had it in him, to be honest. But he is thriving and he is a dangerous, dangerous man. Leo, welcome. Richmond have reportedly started contract talks with Ryan Mansell, according to the AFL app. Very good. So they should. I'm all for that. I don't. Maybe this is rose-coloured glasses and a little bit of hope, but I don't think we're at genuine risk of losing any of our Tasmanian cohorts. I think we're building something special enough that it's worth hanging on to ride it out with Richmond. I'd be shocked if we lost someone we didn't want to lose. Granted, if we do, we're going to get well compensated. I just don't think that we will lose someone. Fingers crossed. Crispy question: the rumour of the Gold Coast non-AFL ruckman we're rumoured to potentially be interested in. Your thoughts? Very good thoughts. So, I mean, I'm happy to say the name because we spoke about it on Tuesday night. Bailey Humphrey is the one that's... So for context, and I think it's important when talking about trade names like this. So before I even spoke to Tiggs, before we went on air on Tuesday night, so way earlier in the day, I'd received a message from someone who's typically had really good mail in the past on a lot of different things, not just trade stuff, but a lot of different things around the club. And he had mentioned as well that Bailey Humphrey is very, very high on our list. And again, that's not saying that we're a lock to get him or anything like that, because there's a lot of shit that has to happen. But it's good. And then Tiggs backs it up as well. When I asked him first, I said, "Oh, hey, have you heard?" He's like, "I have actually." So good to hear that they kind of check out. When things like that start checking out, I find it to be a bit more legitimate and something to it. But at the same time, I think we would be batshit crazy to not be having a crack at someone like a Bailey Humphrey or a Zach Butters. And I think it might have been Kel Toomey today, potentially, alluded to what Tiggs mentioned last night, that we have a shitload amount of money to throw at someone this year. And the person, so his source, and as he mentioned, would categorically know that. So I feel very comfortable in that being a real thing. But I think we all know that anyway. I don't think that's anything new or hidden. But yeah, hopefully we are splashing some cash. But we've got to still play well this year to be an appealing prospect as well. So we've got to make sure we tick that box first. Hayden Lynch versus Collins, always a good duel. Armstrong versus Mac Andrew. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I feel like Jonty Ford would have been a bit more aggressive or being able to aggravate him a bit more. I'm not sure whether Harry will do that. I hope he does. I hope whoever is on him, I hope they do it. They've got to wind him up. Lockie, can you give us your honest views on the whole Smiley situation in terms of management and his future? Yeah, absolutely. When you hear today Uze talking about that the kid grew 3 centimeters last year, that's a lot. I know it doesn't seem like a lot as an isolated number, but that's a lot. He's gone from 195 centimeters to 198. And no doubt that is playing a part in the length of recovery, the re-injury. Like, his body's still developing and growing, which is utterly scary of someone of his size in a good way. And it's frustrating, absolutely. But we saw pre-season, he was doing all of his running. He was smashing out his running. And then he just noticed the niggle with the kicking action. We scanned him on the first day of pre-season so that there quite literally wasn't anything else we could have done better or quicker in that scenario. Goes and gets the surgery, comes back, obviously tweaked the quad again in one of the rehab drills, whatever it was. Not ideal. If he's still growing, maybe is that why? I don't know. Maybe because of the recovery, he's compensating in different ways and offsetting the load. I don't know. I'm not really into the sports science side of thing in that sense, but I get the frustration 100%, and no one would be more frustrated than Josh himself and the club. But I really don't think it's anything to do with mismanagement. That's just my personal opinion. I know that others will have different views, and that's okay. The reason why I don't think it's mismanagement is because it's not just our medical team making a decision, right? They're scouring and getting expert opinions to work out the best outcome. And yeah, they can only do what they can do. And I truly think that until he stops growing, it's going to be a bit of a slow burn until that happens, because it's really hard to get the body right. He's got to catch up to all this growth that's been happening. And that may be soon, who knows? But thankfully, we've got time on our side and he's got time on his side. I think Uze said today his running started to ramp back up again, which is good. And yeah, it'll be what it'll be. I'm still kind of hoping we'll see him play some football by about mid-year in terms of EFL. But as I've said before, whatever you think of the situation and how it's been handled, like park that to one side. First and foremost, I think as a supporter base, the best thing we can do is actually show Josh a lot of love and support, because whether we like to think it or not, players will see some of the stuff in the comments written on socials, right? And some of it's not nice, it's not pleasant, and it's not warranted either. So I just think as a supporter base, whether we think it's been managed incorrectly or whatever it might be, push that all aside and just actually give the kid a bit of love and support and let him know that we're all right behind him and we can't wait to see him out there. That's just what I think of it, but I'm sure there'll be other views as well. But yeah, I can't wait to see Josh Smiley out there. Jakey, welcome. Apparently Mitch Cleary said the roof will be open again at Marvel. Really? Like at Twilight? Okay. As in for home and away games? Sorry, you might have just sensed an ounce of panic in my voice there. I'm panicking because of my 9-to-5 job. We've just sent out all the clubs their game balls for the first half of the year. And for the last, it would have to be 5, 6, 7 years now. Marvel's always been a closed roof, which always denotes a yellow ball because the lights are on. And that's how I went through the fixture accordingly. So if the roof's going to be open now, that throws a bit of a curveball for me, having to find some red game balls for clubs. So I appreciate that heads up, because I will have to ask some questions tomorrow, because that changes things for me immensely. Hayden, I think Jaden Shaw could do a good job of being on Humphreys. He's going to be a tough one. He's going to be a really tough one. Ross and Petrarca, says Hayden. I think we will see at times Ross guarding Petrarca. I don't know, do we do a full-blown tag? I'm not sure. What do you all think? Grumpy Old Man, is it dangerous to play Lafau on the ruck after an ACL injury? Personally, I don't think so. And I'm not at all suggesting I could play ruck. I've come off 3 ACLs myself, and it is a mental game. But at that level, at the elite level, I just can't subscribe to the theory of not letting a player do a task X, Y, and Z because of a previous injury. Ultimately, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen, right? That's just the unfortunate nature. I understand that jumping is maybe an added mechanism that you could do without, but he's going to be jumping for marks and all that kind of shit anyway. I don't think we should live in fear of that. I think if the player plays a role adequately enough and feels the role as we need him to, and he puts his hand up to play, you play him in that role. I don't think we should bubble wrap players just in case they might re-aggravate an injury, because then you're not getting the most out of the player, and it's not beneficial for them or the club. Robert Mills, welcome. What are your thoughts on Uze talking about tagging Petrarca? It's definitely got to be in the conversation. I guess it just depends on, do we do it from the get-go, or do we wait and see how we go head-to-head first? That could get dangerous, but I don't mind the idea of us backing in our team as well. So I'm a little bit torn, but I think we have to pay close attention to Petrarca at stoppages, and in particular when he pushes forward after a stoppage and gets dangerous there. That's where he does the real damage. Like, he's kicking multiple goals each week. What did he get, 3 last week? I think it might have been. So that, for me, is where we have to be careful on the handover of when Petrarca goes forward versus midfield. Someone will have to mind him, though. Danny, welcome. Reckon we need to target a ruck, especially if Ryan doesn't come through. I think that's on the cards, isn't it? I mean, look, I know I'm in the minority. I'm still holding out some hope that Samson Ryan can make use of this new ruck rule. And the injury he picked up has been so badly timed. And it is what it is, but the rule really plays into his strengths. So I'm really keen to see how he goes having a proper run at it. And, you know, we obviously saw Campbell Gray play 32% last week in the ruck. What does it look like if we use a Samson Ryan or a Hayes Brown for that same 32 to 40% game time to take the centre bounces? Because we're then putting in another genuine ruckman against another team's second ruck. So maybe we can get an advantage in there with the hit outs and get some more clearances. Just trying to think a little bit outside the square. But otherwise, if it doesn't play out how we want it to your point, then yeah, you've got to look at like a Ned Moyle, or there's a few floating around the northern states that we can have a look at for sure. It has to be on the cards. It just has to be. Not against going to the draft. Yeah, it'd be nice to get another good kid in the draft, or we pick up a talented midfielder by way of trade. Leo need Lafou free set shot accuracy. It was good. And that was one of the points Tiggs made, is that Lafau coming in theory, helps improve our goal kicking accuracy because of how accurate he is. So fingers crossed. I mean, we want everyone to bring their goal kicking boots on Saturday. We need to make the most of all of our chances. Brent, Butters will be a Bulldog. I've always thought that too. I've always felt the Bulldogs are in the box seat, which is going to make them a scary prospect, even more so than what they are now. But you can never count us out of these types of things because of the money we've got. Because of the currency we've got from a pick perspective will be more enticing potentially than what the Bulldogs have got. And then it's just kind of on us to play good enough football to make it somewhat of an appealing prospect for Butters. I've always thought he's maybe just a year or two too old for our age profile. Like, he would obviously view Bulldogs as being obviously more in the window range than what we are. But we're coming with a bullet, I reckon. It'll take a couple of years, but we'll be there. But yeah, I agree. I think the Bulldogs will be the likely destination there. Hayden Happy Gibbs got 3 more years. Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy that he got an extension. I was probably a little bit surprised with 3 years for Gibcus, just because of his history. Not nothing to do with his form or anything like that, because we've got to give the kid a go. On one hand, it shows great confidence and great support of the kid, and that would obviously mean a lot to him personally, and will no doubt, I think, ultimately that's going to get the best out of him. But it obviously comes with an element of risk too, from the club's perspective. But sometimes you got to make those decisions to benefit your team long term. So yeah, pumped for him. It's a really good story in a lot of ways, isn't it? With what he's gone through to getting an extension, and now he's playing AFL football again. It's just been really good for him. The Mansell extension would be good. Cat, honestly, Smiley playing any footy this year would be exciting. It would be. I mean, we would all dearly love to see him play an AFL game later this year. But I mean, and you're probably the same, as is everyone else. I'm equally as excited just to see him get back to VFL football, to be honest. And when he does get back and play, if you do go to the VFL or whatever game he's playing, really take note of how much bigger he is than any other midfielder on the ground. It's quite a sight to behold. I was at one of his games at Casey Fields last year, and he just monsters other teams' midfield. So once he gets used to his body and his strength, it's almost going to be unfair for us. Crispy, I have confidence in our club and staff, which is a bit of bad luck. Most of us aren't experts. Yeah, exactly right. And again, I get everyone's passion and everyone's frustration with it, but the club would be feeling the same thing, as would Josh. So it's just a bit of a shitstorm, and I'm sure he'll get through it. And once he stops growing, I think that's actually the key to getting him back out into the park, to be honest. Danny, where do you see Sims playing? I've probably changed my mind a little bit on this. So I initially thought he might have been more of a forward ruck, but with the new ruck rule, I don't know, I'm kind of thinking maybe we're hoping he can be a ruck forward. So just giving him a bit more ruck time. Again, his injury was obviously really bad timing as well, and the duration that he's out for. But it's a tough one, isn't it? Because you look at our forward line, like if Lynch, Fall, and Armstrong are all playing at the same time, are we too tall if Sims is in as well? Or is he playing on more limited minutes like what Campbell Gray was and being a more pinch hitter? I don't know. It's going to actually be really interesting to see how we operate this. On one hand, it's really good to have all of these young kids and young forward talent on your list, but you've got to try and find a way to play them all. And that's actually proving to be maybe the trickier part. Where does everyone else see Sims playing? Is he a forward ruck or a ruck forward? Tangier, still excited about Josh? Exactly right. John, where are you playing Hopper this week, and which 3 players play the most centre square bounces? Oh, that's a really good question, John. I'll start by saying, if Dion Prestia is available for AFL selection this week and we select him, I'll be a little bit concerned what that means for our centre square mix, because my gut instinct says I hope we don't fall back into old habits of putting Taranto, Hopper, and Prestia in there. We know categorically, we've seen it doesn't work. It'll work for maybe 2.5 minutes, but especially with Gold Coast pace, like, they are frightening. So if we do pick Prestia, it will be fascinating to see how we use all three of them. I think you have to use the bench really smartly. You have to use the half forward line really smartly. And I'd be a little bit disappointed if we went with that midfield trio for nearly any percentage of game time, to be honest. When you've got Lawler there, you've got Ross there, you've got McAuliffe there, I still think we need to be utilising players like Seth Campbell, Maurice Rioli, even Trezise, players like that, especially against quicker sides. I think we have to get a bit more creative. So it will be interesting. And look, I want it on record too that I do think we need, or we owe Hopper a few more weeks at grace to get the performances up and running. Grant, it wasn't his best game against Carlton. We all know that. He would probably know that too. But he's got some runs on the board, and I'm expecting him to bounce back, and hopefully it's in a really strong and meaningful way. In terms of which three players played the most centre square at bounces, I think Tim Taranto will be an absolute lock for one of those players. And despite having a bit of a shitty first half, all of them did, not just Taranto, that his second half was really, really strong, really strong. So he'll be there for a lot of them. Jack Ross will be there for a lot of them. And then it's just the third player. Hopefully, I mean, I hope the third player is Lawler, but is his tank up to it yet? Are they going to spend more time forward? Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully it's Lawler. And sort of, I suppose, tacking on to the Dion thing, if Dion plays this week, do we play him off the bench? It's a really interesting question. I mean, we obviously saw Collingwood do it to really good effect with Scott Pendlebury coming on off the bench and playing small bursts. CB and EJ have both been really strong, that could be something that we look to do. I think you've got to consider it. Like you have him come off the bench for 5-minute spurts in the midfield whilst Hopper or whoever's off the ground. There's something in it, I reckon. There's something in it. It will be interesting to see what we do there just to get the balance right. Joel, so the marble roof will be open at night games if the weather's good. Okay, so only for night games or for day games as well? If it's for night games, I'm feeling okay. If it's day games, bit concerned. Hags, we need an accumulator in the draft like Jagger. Maybe. It's a tough one. I mean, okay, he accumulates the ball, and I don't want this to sound like I'm shit canning Jagger, because I'm really not. I think he's a wonderful player, a wonderful kid, and he's going to be a great player. And I don't want this to become a Lawler versus Jagger thing and who we should have taken, but I know I'm probably perpetuating that inadvertently. But Jagger got 30-odd disposals against us. Lawler got 16 disposals, but Lawler had more metres gained. Now, I know metres gained doesn't always equate to quality, but in this instance, it did, I thought. So just because you have an accumulator doesn't always mean it's going to be meaningful and hurtful disposals. Because even Paddy Cripps accumulates the ball but doesn't necessarily hurt you all the time. And whilst it would be good to have someone racking up the ball 30 times a week, which we haven't had many players do that, have we, for a number of years. I'm not too disheartened if we don't, as long as the disposals that our players do get are meaningful and impactful. And that's probably where, maybe to your point, that's maybe where we get hurt a little bit with the Hopper and Taranto disposal. They aren't elite users of the ball, so they might get it 25 times, but the quality of the 25 isn't the same as what a Lawler 16 might be. And that's where it hurts, missing someone like a Tash Houghton. I know he hasn't played a game yet, but Sam Cumming would have been another good one to have in that mix as well. But that's where maybe using a Seth Campbell or I don't know, someone like that, if we can average it out and get some of our other half forwards and wingers into the middle and get them up to 15 to 20 disposals, if we've got more players in that range, but they're hitting their targets and making it count, maybe it doesn't feel so bad. But you're right, we haven't really got a genuine accumulator, but can you get by without one? Is there a method or a way forward where you don't necessarily need one? I suppose that's the interesting one. Am I heading in this week? Yes, I'm heading to the game, Neil. I'll be there on Saturday. It's annoying the bloody VFL games at the same time. I really wanted to watch that, so I might have to watch that in the car or the train, whatever we take on the way in. So we might try and do a fan cam outside the ground, whether it's before the game, after the game, pending on how the kids go. So yeah, if you do see us, come and say good day. Which 5 players are under the pump to stay on the list? That's actually a really difficult question. I've said this before. I really think that we're at a point in time where there's not really, to me anyway, there's not really an obvious, using the term dead wood. I don't think we've got an obvious category with players that sit within that right now, which is good. I truly believe that maybe bar two of the new draftees that we got last year, that we've got anyone on our list could come in and play an AFL role for us in some capacity. Whether that's, maybe Hayes Brown might be the only other one too, because we don't know what that looks like yet. But I really do think we've got enough players there to come through who can play at AFL level if called upon. So as to who's on the chopping block, I mean, if we had have spoken about this before the season started, I would have hazarded a guess that someone like Steely Green might have come up. But you see the start of his season and you're like, oh, okay, he's actually put a really good his best foot forward. Maybe he's not in that boat now. Maybe Caleb Smith is probably one that could be in a bit of trouble. And for him, it doesn't help that he's playing in a position that we've got a lot of people trying to squeeze into. So it's actually really difficult for him to get AFL minutes because of the amount of depth or players we've got vying for that one spot. So he could be one that will be fighting for dear life. Hayes Brown, I think we have to hold on to. I'm actually really keen to persevere with Hayes Brown and see where his development takes us. See, I don't know whether I would, do too much in that space yet. But other than that, I don't know whether it's too clear cut. Other people have different thoughts. Anthony, the list manager in chat, will have all of his thoughts about cutting 3/4 of the side, and we'll all view it differently, and we won't all agree with each other. But I just think we've got a lot of players who can step up and play an AFL role if they need to. So there's going to be some unlucky players at the end of the year on the back of some really tough decisions, and maybe there's trades. Maybe it's not so much the listings. Maybe it's trades for more opportunity, which is where we might lose players. And that's where I thought that we might have lost Fawcett because of that. We still may end up losing Fawcett because of that. And that's why I really respected him signing the 1-year deal, because he's backing himself in to make an impact and to crack into the team, into a position where we've got, again, excess stock, for lack of a better term. So there could be a little bit of that happening at the end of the year, which will be, interesting to see what we do in that space. Damien, good evening. What are the chances we have another debutant this week? Is Piker a good chance to replace Mansell? I had him in my team this week. I think that's a really good replacement, and I agree. And I don't want to at all suggest at this early stage of Piker's career that it's like for like in totality. But if we're talking about a similar player type, Piker's got really, really strong goal sense. He kicked 2 goals last week in the VFL practice game. I think he kicked another goal or 2 in the couple of weeks prior. Can push up the ground, and I'm not saying he's going to go through the midfield, but can push up around stoppages as well and help out in that part of the ground too. His tank was obviously something that they wanted him to work on, which seems to have been happening. And my first thought was, could you use Piker as that 35 to 45% game time player, bring him on for bursts of energy in the front half of the ground and cause a bit of havoc? It's probably not to the same effect as what Mansell playing a full game is, so you're going to have to find something else somewhere to offset it. I really like Piker, and I think we've seen enough from the club, both on draft night and in other videos, that really strongly suggest the club are extremely bullish, should I say, about Zane Piker. They were like the cheesy grins they had on their face when we read out his name. They have a lot of stocks in this kid, and he's very young. He's like what Jasper Alger is, on the very, very young side of his draft year, born in December. I'm really keen to see how he goes. And look, there may be an argument that it's too soon. He's too young to bring in now, but he's built right. Like, it's not like he's a twig. Like, he's got some good size. He's got the biggest thighs I've ever seen. So I would be all for it personally. I don't know whether the match committee will go that way, but I would be all for it. Mr. Woz, Smiley now. I know, 1 centimetre shorter than Nank. We're getting into Smiley being the backup ruckman territory, aren't we? Dick, I reckon you can only play one of Prestia and Hopper. I can definitely understand that train of thought. And I probably land there as well, if I'm being honest. I just think, especially after seeing opening round and round 1, and the stats that EJ brought forward on Monday night about the way the game's being played, it's lending itself to more speed, not to stoppage and contested. So that, for me, takes away sort of the one wood of what Jacob Hopper's about. And I don't know whether we should fight against that or whether we should go with what the trend's suggesting and inject the speed ourselves and try and capitalise. It's hard, though, because, yeah, he does, when he's playing well, like last year, wins the ball at the coalface really well. But we just need to make sure that we're surrounding him with the adequate players to offset what he doesn't do so well. And the same with Preston, the same with Taranto. It's just a balancing thing. Leo's hoping we see Piker this week. A lot of love for Piker. I like it. RFC as well. Andrew, Brown and Trainer, any chance they come in, going by last year to surprise in the VFL? It doesn't sound like they had a massive game in the VFL, in the practice game. John Ralph actually replied to a tweet today from someone, who was it? It might have been you, RFC Centre. Did John Ralph reply to you? It was someone that follows us, saying that Uzo had mentioned that Trainer had a bit of an ankle tweak and a mild concussion over the last couple of weeks, so that's why his game time's been a bit limited. I didn't know either of those two things. So, did they do enough? Look, on the surface, probably not. But the questions for me still becomes, if we play Brown and Trainer, are we getting something better out of them than we may out of the player they're replacing? So let's talk about, let's maybe use Hugo Ralsmith as an example. On the wing, would we get more out of Tom Brown on the wing disposal-wise than, and by disposal I mean both quantity and quality, would we get a better result than if we had Hugo? Or does what Hugo provide with the running and his disposal last week, like Hugo didn't have a bad game, so I'm not trying to out the bloke, but just as a comparison, are we better off rolling the dice and having, I think you're better off having better ball use. So if it was me, I wouldn't be against Tom Brown on the wing to utilise his foot skills, because I know he had a couple of scuffed kicks in the practice games that looked ugly, but typically he's a really good user of the ball. So I would be inclined to see what that looked like. I don't know whether that's the path we'll go down, but yeah, I would be in that type of mindset. How's that? Do you think we will be better next time in the goal kicking position, as it will happen again this season in games? If we're talking just conversion, hopefully. I mean, if Tom Lynch is having 9 shots at goal every week, I don't think he's kicking 2-7 every week. I think there's a lot of weeks he'll convert a lot of those chances. Some of them were tough. For everybody, it's all about the easy shots. There was a couple of easy shots that he missed. Jonty missed an easy shot, and Harry Armstrong missed an easy shot that they should have really kicked. Even Sam Lawler missed one he probably should have kicked too. That's been an issue for us for a while. It feels like it's a mental thing, because they can all kick a ball. You know, people watch them at training, they're slotting goals from every other angle, so they can do it clearly. It's just the pressure of a game, and that'll be a maturity thing for the younger guys anyway. And it's something we need to get on top of, because I can imagine it would be really deflating as players on the ground when our defence and our midfield were doing such good work to turn the ball over, get the ball down the ground, hit up the leading forward. So we actually, for once, we had good forward connection. It was working. The 15 marks inside 50 and the 60 inside 50 entries suggest that strongly. But then we just weren't capitalising on the scoreboard. And that would be frustrating. And, you know, if we had it capitalised, it could have blown out. It honestly could have blown out. That's what it felt like being there, that if we had just kicked 3 or 4 of those goals, the down walls could have well and truly opened, and it could have been on. And I don't mean that in a disparaging way to Carlton, but we were just that much better than them in the second half. We just didn't kick the goals. It was frustrating, but the beauty is that that's something that's easily fixed. Whether it eventuates is another thing, but it's easy enough to tweak that. And Uze said on, what was he on? He was on something, one of his press conference potentially, that he, in his previous job at Melbourne, part of his role was the goal kicking coach. So he was able to look back at the tape and give Lynchy some pointers on some technique and ball drop when it's windy conditions to help sort of rectify that. So they've already been actively trying to fix it, which is good. RFC Centre, Piker fan. Frosher Josha, what does Hopper's future look like? It's an interesting one. he's got a lot of work to do. Like, the reality is with our midfield, with the amount of young talent that we've brought in, I know they're still a little bit behind in terms of fitness and experience and things like that, but they're going to catch these guys quickly if they're not careful. So they've got to be on their game. They've got to be playing at a good level. And it's just as simple as that. So, yeah, I don't know. We're going to have to see some big turnarounds. Giuseppe Sampson Ryan is contracted until the end of 2027. So people need to probably get out of their head that he's going to be gone at end of year, because I don't think it's going to happen. Unless we opt to break contract, which doesn't usually happen, he will still be there in 2027. Danny, the two father sons will be interesting how they develop this year. Yeah, and Armstrong. Yeah, will be good. So I think the Coates League, or the AFL Talent League, whatever it's called now, kicks off this week. Archie Daffy's probably the one I'm really... Actually, Jack Lees as well. Honestly, both of them I'm really pumped for. And I know everyone's going to come at me and be like, well, we had the same thing last year with Louis Kellaway. I get it. We don't want to get our hopes up. I completely understand. What I will say, though, is Archie and Jack both have that really close to elite trait of the pace side of the game, which is something that Louis didn't have. And that could be enough point of difference that it propels them forward a bit. Archie moved into the midfield a little bit towards the end of his year last year. He's another one on the younger side of things as well. So he could be someone that develops again a little bit later. Got some good size, like good muscle, loves to tackle, loves the aggro. Like he plays with really good intent, good goal sense like his dad, of course. So I'll be watching him with a lot of interest this year. I'm really hoping that he gets some good midfield time. And Jack Lees, there was a really good article on him the other week in the Sandful that he's been training pretty much exclusively with the midfield, which is awesome. And I think he wants to do a bit of wing time as well. So he's going to utilize his pace and his skills to play this year. So I'm keen for both of them. I'm really excited to see what they do this year. And Armstrong, yeah, Tanner. So we talk about the accumulator. Tanner's probably the next version of the accumulator that we're going to have access to. Look, I don't think he was as effective with his disposal as he would have liked last year. That's definitely something in his game I think he would like to improve. But that kid can find the ball. He can extract it. He can get the handball out. He works hard contest to contest. So there's the accumulator if we are able to get access to him. So we might actually have the solution there. Jimmels, drop Armstrong and Fall, bring in Fawcett and Lafau, test those two with Lynch. I think we'll see that at some point during the year. I think we definitely will. Whether we would, I know Fall's going to miss anyway, but I don't know whether we would do that straight away this week. But I think you would have to say at some point this year we're going to see that, almost certainly. Cat, the problem is we have so many players that, I know our defensive stocks for a couple of years now have been really healthy, haven't they? And you add to that Gibcus is back healthy too, which that wasn't an issue last year until the last game. So, Damien, if you want to have a crack, I will boot you. Don't be a clown. Surely it's pronounced Puka. I'm sure he cops Puka, RFC, I'm sure. Nick Vlaston hitting free agency. Yeah, surely he's as safe as houses to be at Richmond, you would like to think. It's going to be good to have him back. He's one that, if there's ever a player that you feel like we noticeably miss on field, I reckon it's Nick Vlaston. As much as we've got like Brody and Short, Bolter and even Miller with his age as sort of leaders down back, just that calm level-headedness of Nick Vlaston and the courage he displays. I don't know. There's just something about the way he plays that maybe other supporters don't quite get when it comes to his game. I always feel he's always been criminally underrated by people outside of Richmond. And that's neither here nor there, I suppose. But yeah, you just miss having his calming influence out there. So he will be a very welcomed addition. I hope that his fitness and his niggles and all that kind of shit have gone away. But yeah, it's going to be good to have him back out there. Andrew, gut feel, do we use our war chest this year to attack free agency or wait one more year? Now, I read somewhere, and I might need clarification on it, I don't think you can bank the money for more than, it must be 2 years. There's a limitation, right? So if you're not paying 95% of your salary cap, which I don't know categorically, but I don't think we would be given the amount of money we freed up, and given we're not paying all these young kids exorbitant contracts right this second. So I would hazard a guess that we're not paying big dollars or 95%. But you can only not do that for 1 or 2 years, and then you must spend 105%. Like, you got to make up the difference. So the short answer, I think yes. I think we will spend some of our war chest this year. I think the rules will dictate we have to in some way or force our hand. But we need to have the performances to go with it. And that doesn't mean we have to win 11 games, because that's not realistic, I don't think. We can still win 5, 6, 7 games and still play really well, and other teams improve. So that, there's no shame in losing to sides that have improved, right? But as long as we are showing improvement, a clear path and direction, we're obviously an appealing prospect with the MCG, the fan base, the new facilities, all of that kind of stuff. A young side up and coming. If you can sort of see, if you can get the players to buy into what that's going to look like and what that means for them coming across to us, then there's absolutely a chance that we can land a big name. I would be bitterly disappointed if we weren't putting our hat in the ring for Zach Butters, if we weren't putting our hat in the ring for, who else? Bailey Humphrey. Like, all of those players, you've got to ask the question. Whether or not we think it's realistic or not, doesn't really matter. You have to put your hat in the ring, be prepared to pay a handsome fee to get a quality player across. And the very worst thing that happens is they say no, but it drives up their price to the other clubs that are going after them, and maybe someone gets shaken loose from there. So you're not really in a bad spot. And of course, if Port Adelaide match, you've got to be careful of the currency you give up and everything like that. But that's where free agency could be your best friend, where you don't have to give up anything. But at the same time, I would be happy for us to target one of those big name players. I think it would. I've always felt it would fast track us. And you'd love to have a second type of dusty player, and Humphrey could be that type of player. And he was obviously on record as wanting to come home last year, home to Melbourne, not so much specifically us. So there could be some options there. Zach Bailey, the other one as well. I feel like he's going to get some big offers from probably his own club, Brisbane, first and foremost. Essendon are probably going to be in the ring for him. And again, you would be crazy not to ask the question and to not put your hat in. You just have to do it. So whether we get publicly linked to any of these guys down the track remains to be seen. But you would have to assume that behind the scenes, Blair Hartley is wheeling and dealing and asking the relevant questions that need to be asked. Heels can't see Voston leaving. Agree. I don't think that will happen. Cat Vossen for AA this year. Jesus, he should already have one, shouldn't he? My goodness. That Darcy Byrne-Jones year, that's gonna haunt us for a while. Can he get? I mean, there's no reason why he can't get AA. I suppose the biggest thing is making sure he gets in the park and is fit and healthy, which we'll hopefully see this week. And if he can play at the level he did last year, I mean, last year he would have been really close as well. He had a good year, and that's what I mean by I think he's really underrated by people outside of Richmond. But we love him, so that's all that really matters. We love him. Would it be worth having a crack at Zach Bailey? I think it would be. I really hope we're balls deep into Ben King. Not a fan of Amadi. Yeah, it depends. I mean, if you're trying to add a midfielder as well, you probably need to consider the Amadi option to leave enough space to go for a secondary player. If you go for Ben King, that's probably going to eat up most of the money that you have. So you're either then making a decision to go for an all-out attack on a big key forward where we've already got key forward stocks. So that worries me a little bit. Like, the question I ask myself, would getting Ben King stifle the development and progress of Jonty Fall or Harry Armstrong? Or can you viably play all three of them in the same side? I don't know what the answer is. The club would be smarter than I to make that decision. The Amadi one's not so bad. Not so bad. If you can get him at the price you want as a stopgap. Because we've still got McKelty as well. I guess we're working on the assumption that Lynch is likely to retire maybe end of this year, at best end of next year, at worst end of next year. So there's going to be a little bit of a lull from when Lynchy finishes up to when Fall and Armstrong are ready to kick on, like what Aaron Cadman's done. So that's kind of my comparison. So do we lean on Lafau to play that role in the meantime and get by? Do you target another ready-made key forward? There's a few different ways that you can go about it. Ben King, though, if you do that, I just think you're sacrificing going after a gun midfielder. And I think, well, I don't know. Are you better off getting a gun midfielder or a gun key forward? I'm not sure. It just depends, it just depends on how you want to use Armstrong and Fall, and if you want to stick with the three tall attack. John, both wings are still up for grabs. Definitely are. No one has claimed it for now. I think McAuliffe is better in the guts. Yeah, I think McAuliffe, I think, would categorically be better in the guts, but for whatever reason, there's just not adequate rotations room there for him. So hopefully that changes, because I think he would be. He's shown he's more than handy in there. I think we'll definitely see Rechko at some stage on the wing. I think he'll do a reasonable job. Is it a long-term solution? I don't know. You're right. It's completely up for grabs, though. That is definitely two positions on the ground that are not buttoned down for us, are not buttoned down in any way, shape, or form. So we'll have to see what happens there. Martin, we need a midfield accumulator with good disposal. It'd be nice, wouldn't it? But unfortunately, players like that come at a price. They're not always easy to find. I mean, you'd love for a Sam Cumming to turn into that type of player. You'd love for a Tash Houghton or a Sam Lawler to turn into that type of player. But we just don't know. We just don't know what the future holds in that sense. If there's someone ready-made, I wouldn't have any hesitation in pulling the trigger. Why not? If you got the cash and you got the spots to do it, that's going to be the fascinating part, is who we add. It's going to be interesting. Stat Chats, welcome. Yeah, we did look good last week. We just the kicking boots, as you would have seen. We did everything else really well. I put a tweet out about it that we wanted to see better ball movement. We ticked that box. We wanted to see good tackling. We did in the first half, but overall for the second half, we ticked that box. We kept them to a goal in the second half, which was good. We just didn't finish off the end transaction. So, look, if we can do that again this week, it'll be interesting to see how that holds up against a really good side in Gold Coast, who are quite quick. And like the game we played against them last year, later in the year, they absolutely torched us. We struggled to get the ball inside 50, let alone score. So it will be interesting to see how we go against them. But if we bring the heat, you never know your luck. You never know your luck. What did everyone think of Ken Hinkley's comments on SEM? He was posed a hypothetical question. If you had to come back and coach for, was like a 5-year stint or whatever it might have been, who would you take, Richmond or Carlton? And he said, you wouldn't even have to pay me to take Richmond. So he is all over our development, our rebuild. And then I was made aware that Lance Franklin said something very similar on his podcast. The question was put forward about who's going to win their next flag first. Richmond, Carlton, Essendon, Kangaroos, and a couple of others. And he said, without hesitation, Richmond are much closer to winning their next flag. So it's interesting to get that type of support from people in the media who have obviously been so involved and so in touch with the game for so long. David King's obviously a massive fan of the Tiger Cubs as well, with the Ferraris, which we love. It's good because it validates what a lot of us see and feel and think as well. Like, I think it's really easy to get caught up. We're always going to be really optimistic and positive about where we're heading. And sometimes there could be a tinge of rose-colored glasses because we want it to be that way. And I get that. So to hear that from external people without the Richmond connection is really, really comforting and positive. And I take a lot out of it because we don't often get positive comments in the media. It's not really been something that we're used to. So the fact that they think we're on the right path as well, I think is a really good thing. As for Hinkley, look, I genuinely don't think that he's coming for Uze's job. What I wouldn't be against investigating is if we wanted to do like a director of coaching, like what Simon Goodwin kind of does at Sydney. I don't know. It's hard because you do that and then you automatically bring the pressure on externally and internally about, he's coming for his job. And we probably don't want that distraction, but do you want a good senior experienced coach to help out? I don't know. It would be an interesting thing to have a look at. Carl, Seth Campbell was electric around the ball. Yeah, I thought Seth Campbell's game was better than what his pre-season form showed he was maybe going to play like, which is a good thing. So it's, yeah, more of that from Seth. I would still personally love to see him in the midfield a bit more, just for that point of difference for his speed. I just think we need to see a little bit of a different mix, that's all. Widescreen, I'd argue we had a better performance this game than when we played Carlton last year. 1,000% correct. And the stats show that. We went through the stats the other night on the Monday Night Live. All stats clearly indicate we played a better game against Carlton this year than we did last year. We just didn't kick straight. So, and Uze said it best in the press conference. Last year we won a game we should have probably lost. And this year we lost a game we should have almost certainly won. And like I've said before, there's the very genuine and real chance that we will play better football this year and win only the same amount of games or less or only slightly more. And it's just, it is what it is, I suppose. Hinkley was complimenting us. Yeah, it could be mentor. I don't. It's those dynamics are interesting. If you get it to work right, it works well, but it can also be very toxic too, from the outside noise coming in. So it's a tricky one. Cat, if Broad retires as expected at the end of the year, who takes his spot? Is it Gibcus? I think it's Trainer. I think Gibcus will hold his spot on his own right. But as I'm saying it, I'm thinking, are we then too tall if Gibcus, Miller, Bolter, Trainer are playing in the same side? I mean, Trainer's a lot more nimble and agile than the other guys, to be fair. That would be my only consideration, but I've always felt like the Broad spot is reserved for Trainer, is how I've kind of interpreted him coming to the club, and the role that he plays really well. I think that's what will eventuate. But other people may have different views on that. Hinkley's a great development coach, would be a wonderful addition. I wonder if they have asked the question. And to Martin's point, do Hinkley and Butters come as a pair? I've got no doubt clubs have asked that question. Maybe it's a Hawthorn or someone like that trying to get someone in to work with Sammy Mitchell. Do you get Butters as a pair? It would be interesting. I'm sure they've been asked that question 1,000 times. If you ask a Port fan, they say they come in a pair. Is that right? Is that how close they are? That's interesting. That's really interesting. Heels, with Cumming needing surgery at some point, do you think the club will do that before the mid-season draft to open up a list spot? So, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because the long-term injury list is no longer a thing. So you can't just then put someone, like we couldn't just put Sam Cumming on there for 12 weeks or whatever it was and pick someone else up. You pretty much have to deactivate him for the whole rest of the year. So if we aren't getting that surgery done until a point in time that 4 months is pretty much taking up the rest of the season, then yeah, maybe you do. So what, end of August, July, June, May. So they pretty much would have to make the call next month, essentially, because it's about a 4-month recovery, I think, for that shoulder operation. And maybe they will make the call. I mean, he's already back sort of training. They've got to see if he can handle some contact training and then see if we can get some games into him. And maybe that's the plan. Maybe it's make a call by X date. So if they do pull the trigger, we know he's out for the rest of the year. We open up a mid-season spot and we can either elevate someone from the VFL or take someone in the draft. So it's interesting. Especially when you see like the Swannies obviously pulled the trigger on Errol Goulden to get his surgery now. We're obviously going a bit of a different approach. I think Cummings' age has got to do with that more than anything else. But yeah, it will be interesting to see what we do in that space. I was going to put Adam Uze's press conference on, but I feel like we've probably all seen that. Maybe we'll play a couple of games. I do have a couple of websites open with some games on it. Do that one first, Gridley. Guess that means they may see Cumming can play some games. Yeah, exactly. That's right. So he might just get that really long extended break and maybe they do pull the trigger and sit him out for the rest of the year. Oh, I've moved that to a spot I didn't want it to move to. Is it this one? Here we go. All right. Before we finish up, I thought we'll play a couple of games. We'll try a Gridley first. I haven't done one of these for a long, long time. 5 goals per game. So someone who's kicked 5 goals in a game plays for the GWS Giants. 23 possible answers. Jesse Hogan's probably one. There's Cadman, I'm not sure. Has Riccardi kicked more than 5 goals? He could be 4%. We'll take that. 5 goals per game for Essendon. I mean, I'm probably going... The first one I've gone to... Oh, no, what about... Oh, no, he played for Hawthorn. We'll go Scott Lucas. 4%. 5 goals a game for the Lions. For the Bulldogs, Brad Johnson will be one. Did Chris Grant, Sam Darcy will have probably been one. Has there been any other small forwards that have bobbed up and kicked 5+ goals? We'll go Brad Johnson. 4%, we'll take that. Liner, do I think Lafau could go with Petrarca? No, I don't. I think if we're going to send someone to Petrarca, I reckon it's got to be Jack Ross or someone in the midfield. Even maybe like a Kane McAuliffe could maybe go with him. Yeah, Lafau might struggle to keep up. A Jake Stringer teammate from the Giants. I'll go with this bloke only because I said his name before. Aaron Cadman, 2%. Jake Stringer teammate at the Bombers. Who would he play with? Dyson Heppel. What about Dylan Shield? 2%. Jake Stringer teammate at the Bulldogs. Jesus. Jake Stringer teammate at the Bulldogs. How long ago did he play at the Bulldogs? I wonder if he played when my mate Toby McLean was there. He did, 1%. Very good. Widescreen, what type of play do you think we should go for in the draft? It's actually a really good draft for Ruckman, believe it or not. I don't know whether I'd go with one of our picks for a Ruckman. Or do you just go best available midfielder? Do you go, who's the player CB kept telling us about? Nucleus, the small forward. I've probably butchered the surname really badly, but he could be one to look at as well. I haven't done too much forward looking into the draft crop for 2026 just yet, to be honest. But typically with a pick at where we might get a pick, you would have to say a midfielder could be the go. Rising Star nomination for the Giants. Oh, geez, you could pick any of them, really, couldn't you? Surely Stephen Caniglio had a Rising Star nomination. Rising Star nom for Essendon. Rising Star nom for Essendon. Who else? We've had a Rising Star at the Bombers. Did Nate Cuddy? 6%. Rising Star nom for the Bulldogs. Surely Colonel Sanders did. No, he didn't. Damn. I thought he might have. It's a bit annoying. Oh, well, we did all right on that one. Sam on Petrarca for periods. As someone said on Monday, sounds like a great idea. Yeah, the Petrarca one's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I mean, what's everyone's realistic expectation of the game against Gold Coast? And there's nothing wrong with being realistic either. It doesn't mean you're negative. It just, there's nothing wrong with having a bit of reality. It's going to be a tough game. And we know that Dimmer doesn't often lose twice the sides close together. We obviously got the better of them at Marvel, then they smoked us. They're in white-hot form. It's obviously a good thing that Rao's not playing, but they've still got Tuke Miller. They've got Noah Anderson, who usually kills us. They've got Petrarca, who's in white-hot form. Jared Witt's very good ruckman. I really rate Jared Witts. He's been super for him. Like, are there any parts of the ground that you all think we might be able to match them in? Like, again, I feel like our tall defensive unit will do okay against the Suns. But again, it's this small, like Ben Long, for example, typically has a really good game against us. He's a really tricky matchup. Leo Lombard is a bit of a live wire up forward. So they've just got a little bit of slickness and pace up front that worries me a little bit. That's probably the part that worries me. And then from our forwards perspective, I mean, if we can create space and Lynch can lead again, you never know. You never know. A good result's 12 goals. Goal goes by 50 if they take their foot off the gas. It feels like about that, doesn't it? If we keep it under 50, we take it. Under 5 goals would be a win. And it's one of those things in like, if they win by 50 or 60 points, there's going to be a portion of people that blow up and go postal wanting everyone sacked. But the reality is, with where the two teams are at, they're probably that much of a better side than us. And there's no real shame in saying that. Do we want that to happen? No, of course not. But if it does happen, it's not the end of the world, is probably more the messaging. We're going to get Rin, says Callum, since it's at the G, where the system suits it well. Yeah, it will be interesting. And hopefully we can get our own system back up and running again. Dabo, I'd like to see a semblance of a game plan. Well, we saw that last week, didn't we? And what we saw last week, I think, shows great progression on what we saw from last year, which, I mean, wasn't difficult, to be fair. But the way we moved the ball forward, for the most part, was good. Yeah, there was some kick down the line, but you know what? That happens for every team in every game, so I don't think we should crucify ourselves for doing that. What I loved was our innovation at the end of the game to try and win, and I noticed this at the game live, and it's been interesting to see that Jack Inovan mentioned it, and there was someone else who mentioned it too, that late in the piece, when there's a couple minutes to go, Nathan Broad, instead of going over to the side of the ground that the contest was on, he stood on the opposite edge of the square in a shitload of space. And that was just our way of having an outlet option. So when Bolter marked the ball, he just turned and went out wide, and Broady's in space. We got the counter attack, got the mark inside 50, missed the goal, unfortunately. But the fact that we were able to, on the fly, implement one of those tactics to try and give ourselves a chance to win the game rather than trying to defend the game. We weren't in a position to defend the game. We had to kick a goal. It was really good to see. It was really, really good to see. Thank you, Simpson. Thank you, RFC. To me, that's a really good progressional step forward. We didn't see or have any of that last year. And even if that's the only trick that we do for the whole year, and we do it 5 or 6 times when the game dictates we need to, it's a learning, it's a step forward. Even if we talk about the kickouts, you know, last year and the year before that, and maybe even the year before that, we all know 98% of our kickouts were to the back pocket and then kick down the line. We didn't really do that as much against Carlton. We did a couple of long bombs down the middle, which not everyone was on the same page for, so it didn't quite work, so we need to fix that part up. Or we were going long outside 50 sort of towards the wing. So we mixed it up a bit, which was good. It was actually nice to see some variation. So I do think we've taken some good steps forward in the way we want to move the ball. And it worked against Carlton. Now the question becomes, does it work against a really good quality opposition that's, you know, top 4 bound, really, if we're being honest, in the Gold Coast Suns? And I'm sure we will find out all about that on Saturday. It'll be fascinating watching. And yeah, we've obviously got the VFL happening as well. But that's probably a wrap for tonight, because I'm just losing my voice randomly during the day. So I'm not sure what's happening there, but we've got through tonight okay. So first of all, before we finish up, do you all like the concept and nature of this type of midweek catch-up? Does it fill somewhat of a void? Do you like having the floor to ask questions? Is it engaging? Is it fun? Do you learn something? Is it something you want to see keep happening? Because I don't want to waste your time by doing a show like this if there's not the appetite for it. Because as I said at the start, I'm mindful that we've got the live Monday and Tuesday. I'm mindful that we've got behind frenemy lines tomorrow. So I'm aware that it's maybe full on, but I'm also aware that we're all mad football nuffies, and maybe there is an appetite for it, just to be able to have your chance to ask your questions that we maybe didn't get to on a Monday or a Tuesday. So if it's something that you like and you want to keep happening, I'm happy to keep working on doing a midweek catch-up. It's just a more casual vibe. And maybe we get some other people involved as well. We might get some other Richmond content creators on and have them chat and answer questions too. I don't know. I'm just trying to work out things that are enjoyable for all of you watching. So, John, thank you for mentioning that. Ken McIntosh back at the club. Big thumbs up. Love it. Love it. Culture driver. Yeah, perfect for him. Perfect. So I'm really glad for that, and it'll be awesome to have him back around the club. I think all the players will be wrapped for that one. So that is a really good bit of news there. Martin, great work. Enjoyable. That's awesome. Lettuce loves the random shows. I'm going to move my comments back centrally so I can read it. Leo likes it. Widescreen likes it. All right, well, yeah, I know that's a small sample size of comments, but it's all positive, which is nice. So, yeah, we'll keep rolling with it. We'll do a Wednesday midweek catch-up. It's just a bit more casual. What about, I suppose, the secondary part? Would you rather it just be a talking Q&A type setup, or do you like the idea of throwing in a couple of games, whether it's a quiz or whether it's a Gridley or something like that? Do you like that stuff as well, or would you rather just the talking and chatting side of things? I'm happy to construct it either way. Yeah, it's just trying to land on what works best and what everyone likes. So, other than that, I think I mentioned this last night, but if you are a Tigercast member, or if you ordered a Tigercast hoodie and you're going to be at the game on Saturday, shoot me a message and I'll bring it and hand it to you at the game and be able to meet you and say g'day, because that'd be kind of cool. I'll send an email on that shortly. Massive thanks and shout out to the Tigercast members. Thank you for your love and support. Yeah, it means the world, and it's good to have footy back. Pumped for round 2. I don't think there's any other questions come through. Chris is a great thing with the viewer numbers tonight. Yeah, I mean, it's averaged about 120 for the whole night, and I didn't even advertise it. So that, to me, that's typically a good sign that there's an appetite for it. So, Jakey, just saw the Hawks have an 18-day break after tomorrow night. Wow, that seems really bizarre. Is that because they got a bye somewhere in there? This is the annoyance with the opening round stuff, isn't it? It just really shits on the fixture for the first 2.5, 3 months. Like, the ladder's all skewed. Teams have got buys all over the shop. It's just a dog's breakfast. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Yeah. I mean, surely we can just play everyone in the opening week and be done with it. I don't know. What's funny, though, is the AFL, like, you see all these different segments of the social world, whether it's the AFL Fan Association, whether it's Super Footy or whoever else, doing polls about opening round. Not once has there been a favourable poll to opening round, but yet the AFL will come out and say, oh no, based on the research we've done, everyone seems to love it. Well, who are you asking? I never got asked. I'm sure none of you got asked either. So it's a real doozy. It's a real doozy. Have polls included? Yeah, good call. Yeah, we can definitely do polls next time, Andrew. Maybe a guest from the chat. Yeah, we can definitely. And that was the other thing, Paul. I was actually thinking. I was thinking of kind of hybriding this one with like a midweek fan cam as well. So maybe some weeks, maybe we'll mix it up. Maybe some weeks we'll do just a Q&A like this. Maybe some weeks we'll open up the lines and people can jump on and chat. We can do a bit of a mixed bag. Why not? We can do whatever we want. Someone's on SCN that Brisbane now doesn't play in Queensland for a month. Really, Lettuce? Really? Oh, they are all over the shop. They are an absolute mess. But we shouldn't expect anything less, I don't think. Anyway, have a wonderful night, everybody. Thank you so much for jumping on at little to no notice. I appreciate the love and support and appreciate all your questions. Hopefully, we all had some really good conversation, which was awesome. And yeah, make sure you get along to the game on Saturday. If you see us out and about with a camera asking questions, feel free to come and say g'day. We'll try and do something pre-game or post-game. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your week. But we got behind frenemy lines tomorrow night, which will be good. I'm going to try it as a live again. I do get mindful that it doesn't always work because there's football on Thursday night, but we'll see how we go. Then other than that, yeah, we'll hit the ground running on Saturday. So thank you again for jumping on. And have a wonderful night, everybody. And until the next one, go the Tigers.